Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting of Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Can I have the roll call, please?
Dan Carey.
Present.
Peg Coniff. Here. Salem Derby.
Present.
Jennifer Hayes.
Here.
J.P. Kaczynski.
Here.
Joe McCoy.
Here.
Dan Rist.
Here.
Tamara Smith. Here. Joy Winnie.
Yeah, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of September 21st?
So moved.
2016?
Second.
Motion a second to approve of the minutes of September 21st. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Any abstentions? 2 abstentions? No one against? Okay, motion still passes. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to address the council for anything other than what's on? We haven't have any public hearings? Not seeing anyone. Okay, moving on. Communications from elected officials, boards, and committee. Again, I keep on forgetting if there's any counselors who have something going on in their precinct or citywide you'd like to make us aware of. This is a good opportunity to give that information out. Not seeing correspondence. Councilor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple announcements here. The first is a retirement party. The East Hampton Police Association is celebrating the retirement of Chief Bruce McMahon. It is going to be Thursday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Log Cabin. Tickets are $45 per person. There's a cash bar, dinner, DJ, and dancing. For tickets and or more information, please contact Cindy Perry at 527-1212, extension 2020, or Chad Alexander, 527-1212, extension 1092. And then the second announcement we have are election announcements. So very important, the deadline to register to vote is Wednesday, October 19th. Absentee ballots are now available for the November 8th election for those eligible to vote by absentee ballot, physically unable to go to the polls, absent from town on election day, or unable to go to the polls due to religious reasons. Early voting will begin Monday, October 24th and run through Friday, November 4th at the Municipal Building here at 50 Payson Ave. Early voting dates and hours are listed on the city website, and as of October 6th will be listed on the State Elections Division website.
Do we happen to have those times and dates available now, so we can announce
They're
them?
on
On the website, I know,
Yeah.
but not everybody who
Well,
watches us.
It's every, all the hours that the building is normally open, plus Saturday, October 29th from 8 to noon, and Friday, November 4th from 8 to noon.
Okay, great.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes. That's okay. Mayor Communications, you said you have nothing tonight? Okay. Reports of standing committees, states, finance council list.
I have a few things, Mr. President. Thank you. First, the Finance Committee met and approved the request to accept MGL Chapter 60. I'll attempt to explain this. We are allowed by state law to establish a revolving account primarily for tax title collection of fees. This is purely accounting. It allows for the efficiency of being able to pay for things like fees, charges, and costs incurred in tax title collection and tax collection, and when you're taking a home, etc., for tax collection. They put that money into this account so that it's available to pay for those legal fees, advertisements, etc. Previous to this, the money went into the general fund and it was taken out. The finance director reported, is much better, and it's been allowed by the state under this chapter. Did I explain that sufficiently, Mayor?
Right, and just one thing to know is that the account would not be for the tax, the real estate taxes itself. It would be for just what Councilor Rist was itemizing, legal fees, recording fees, advertising fees, filing of documents, that type of thing.
That's what it would pay for.
Well, that would be what the account is, that the real estate taxes would not go into that account. Just those type of fees would be the ones that would go into that account.
Okay. All right, got you.
So
Questions?
essentially, the fees that we currently collect the fees, but they go
Right.
into the
General fund.
and then have to come out of the general fund to go pay for those.
Anything we need.
You could go pay for anything, but
Right.
could be taken out of the general fund to pay for future recordings, future whatever we need to do.
Right. So currently, you'll notice, like, I think you'll remember, we actually did a transfer for legal fees out of, in the treasurer's budget last year to pay, we pay ahead for those. So in this instance, when we, and when you collect taxes with fees that are due, all of that just went into the general fund. Now, what would happen is the fee part of it would go into this special revolving account. And then we could keep them there. Obviously, the legal fees, we would take them right out of there and pay the legal fees. But then we could keep our recording fees, our advertisement fees, we could keep them in there so we could use them the next time when we need to advertise and record. Instead of always using it, always taking it out of the departmental budget.
It prevents the need for transferring funds when we run out of money in a certain treasurer account.
Right.
So when that account gets full or gets money in it, it's available.
Councilor Hayes?
Certainly seems appropriate.
Okay. Okay, any
There's
other
no more questions?
questions or comments?
I move that the council accept MGL Chapter 60, Section 15B, relative to the establishment of tax title collection revolving funds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to accept MGL Chapter 60, Section 15B. Additional comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
We have a number of items under new business, which I will read as first reading, and then I'll set some public hearing and send them to finance. The first item is, amount requested is $138,000. It's a supplemental appropriation. It is appropriated from the CPA reserved for open space account, $49,200. The CPA reserve fund, $88,800, for a total of $138,000. To be appropriated to Daly Field, Nonotuck Park, ADA and entrance renovations, $138,000. For the following purpose, to provide funds to the East Hampton Parks and Recreation Department for Daly Field, Nonotuck Park, ADA and entrance renovations. Second item is a supplemental appropriation request of the amount of $9,500 to be appropriated from free cash, $9,500, to be appropriated to Capital Rescue Boat Package, $9,500, for the following purpose, to provide funds for the purchase of a rescue boat for the fire department. Request is hereby made for approval of following appropriation, another supplemental appropriation. The amount is requested is $36,000 to be appropriated from free cash, to be appropriated to Capital Park and Recreation 4x4 Silverado pickup purchase, $36,000. The amount requested for the following purpose, to provide funds for the purchase of a 4x4 Silverado pickup. Another supplemental appropriation request, amount requested of $39,000 to be appropriated from enterprise retained earnings, $39,000. To be appropriated to Capital Sewer 1-ton 4-wheel drive pickup, $39,000. For the following purpose, to provide funds for the purchase of a 1-ton 4-wheel drive pickup. Another supplemental appropriation request, amount requested is $120,000 to be appropriated from free cash, $120,000, to be appropriated to Capital Highway loader mounted snow blower, $120,000, for the following purpose, to provide funds for the purchase of a loader mounted snow blower. Another supplemental appropriation request, the amount requested is $225,000 to be appropriated from free cash, $225,000, to be appropriated to Capital Highway 4-wheel drive loader, $225,000, for the following purpose, to provide funds for the purchase of a 4-wheel drive loader. Request is hereby made for approval of following supplemental appropriation request of $750,000 to be appropriated from free cash, to be appropriated to the General Stabilization 84 account, $250,000, and the General Capital Stabilization 85 account, $500,000, for a total of $750,000 for the following purpose, to transfer funds into General Stabilization and Capital Stabilization. We also received this evening a request from Lori Stewart, our
Let's do the
assessor.
supplemental appropriations separately, so let's move those.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to move all of the supplemental appropriations I just read to finance for review.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to move to finance review the 7 previous supplemental appropriations. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
We received from the Board of Assessors, have obtained preliminary certification of fiscal year 2017 and are requesting a public classification hearing. This is typically sent to finance for review, so I'll make that motion to send this to finance for review.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to move this to finance. This was a situation where the city clerk called me and asked if there was permission to put it on our agenda, as it's not in our written agenda. This is somewhat time sensitive in that typically we have the classification hearing in the beginning of November, so I thought it was worthwhile to move it to finance sooner to hopefully stay on track with our usual time frame of this. Any additional questions or comments before we take a vote? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
I would now like to set public hearings for the following items. The $460,000 borrowing and bonding request for playground and bathroom repairs. These public hearings, I should have said, would be on October 19th, our next meeting at 6:15 in these chambers. Also, the $138,000 for CPA funds for Daly Field renovations. The $36,000 for the purchase of a 4x4 pickup truck. $39,000 for the purchase of a 1-ton 4x4 pickup truck. $120,000 for the purchase of a loader-mounted snow blower for the Highway Division, and $225,000 for the purchase of a 4-wheel drive loader for the Highway Division. I move that a public hearing be set for those items I've read.
Not for the fire?
No, I'm going to wait on some of them. I don't want too long a meeting that night.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second for the set public hearings on the previous mentioned items for October 19th, 6:15 PM in these chambers. Councilor Kwasinski?
I don't recall setting public hearings on items before they've been heard when we're using free cash as quickly as this.
I set them,
Is there-
well, 2 weeks, they're going to go to finance this week. We
I know,
don't
I know.
do that.
I know. I'm just curious. Maybe my memory fails me on that. I just don't recall it. And is there a big rush to get this?
I think we've done that
To get this
before.
done for some particular reason?
Well, for instance, I thought that the DPW Highway Division needing a snow blower attachment might be good to get. They have to, once they get the money, they have to send it out to bid. You know, it takes a while to get these things in. And if the Finance Committee is going to review them, we can set a public hearing, because I know they're going to be reviewed next meeting.
Right.
We've done this
Certainly
before.
can do that. I had some questions about one of the items.
Well, you certainly can ask those
Certainly-
questions at the
certainly ask
public
those.
hearing.
For sure. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and I didn't set public hearings for some of them because they're not as time sensitive like the free cash to general stabilization.
I guess the four-wheel drive loader was an item that had been picked up surplus at one time, and we
Oh,
had it for years.
We should talk about that at the Finance Committee if you'd like
I
to
agree.
come, or, all right?
That would be, I just wanted to explain my reasoning is that I know that we had picked that up at surplus auction of either the federal government or the state government, more than likely.
Well, as I said, the Director of Public Works will be at our meeting, and I suggest you come if you have a question on it.
And certainly, anything can be removed from public hearing. We've done that before, too, if there's a question or more information is needed, things of that sort.
Just wanted to give everybody a heads up.
Yep.
I had some
The
questions
Director of
about that.
DPW will be at both our meeting and the public hearing.
Pretty heavy cost item,
Yeah.
and want to
Okay.
be sure we pursued all our options.
And I'm concerned about the boat, considering we only have one pond.
Concerned about
The boat, we only have one pond,
pond.
or 2 ponds, more than one. So I think we had a motion a second, and any more questions or comment before we vote on this? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
If I could be allowed, I don't recall if the mayor or the finance director would let us know, has free cash been certified for this year? And how much did we get?
As you see,
Because I don't think we got a report on that.
as you're aware, with all these transfers.
A lot of them, like 750,000, so I thought maybe I
Right.
should ask.
And as you've seen, we're already doing the little saving tuck away, so you've noticed the stabilization and the capital stabilization. So what we received for the general fund was $1,798,066.
Really?
And enterprise, water sewer enterprise is $1,420,789.
That's a lot.
It was great. It was a great year. And this is just, you know, I think a tribute to, you know, what great financing we've been doing. And, you know, it comes from a lot of things. It comes from new growth, comes from departments giving back funds. Actually, last year we didn't use all of our free cash, so that rolled back into it. So it comes from a lot of things, but to me, it's just really good finance.
Putting almost $1 million in the bank is very nice. I like that.
Well, then maybe you'd like to see this. Now that you're speaking
Another
of
request.
that, what we will have, you know, when and if you agree to put that money into stabilization, what we will have will be in our general $1,926,885.85, and what we will have in our newly formed capital stabilization will be $1,237,363.89. And those figures do change a little tiny bit with, you know, little bits of interest.
And the intent of capital, just to remind everybody, is so that we have emergency funds should we need an emergency large item to purchase, such as a fire truck went down, they cost $1 million, we have to buy it immediately, we won't have fire support, for instance. Just, that's why it's there, because we're going to buy the smaller items like you've listed
Exactly.
from free cash.
Sometimes instead of bonding, sometimes with bonding. But also, you know, I'm very conservative, and that is why the capital stabilization and the general stabilization. But also, I'm sure you've heard, there's talk again this year of 9C cuts due to the state having, you know, an unexpected, what the governor planned on the revenues that DOR had projected, which are sorely in deficit. So last year we were extremely lucky that the 9C cuts didn't hit us. You know, they hit everywhere else, but I mean, you know, staffing right here into our fiscal budget. So those are the hardest. Like, cuts that you get during the budget year are extremely difficult because we already have our budget. So, you know, with the stabilization and free cash and reserve, you know, we like to make sure that we're well prepared for anything that comes our way within reason.
Mayor, have all these numbers been certified? Is that the right
Yes.
word? Okay. And so
Well,
are we
free
gonna?
cash is certified.
Yeah.
And those are the numbers that I was, you know, just going over with you.
And so
And that
I-
would be when the totals that I gave you is, you have that transfer in front of you to take from free cash into stabilization and into capital. The figures I gave you would be when you do that.
Okay. And are you going to give these numbers again to Finance Committee or maybe even the
Oh,
council?
absolutely.
Council in general, if you just wanted to let everybody know the numbers.
Anytime you want them.
If you-
We're
if you
very,
could-
we're very excited about them.
Yeah, I mean, things like free cash and stuff, I think councils always like to hear, so if you could just send a memo to all the councilors with those numbers so we have.
Absolutely.
And including the
At one
numbers.
time, you know,
post-
it's funny because I think DOR used to, you know, copy you into the email, so if they're not, then I'd be happy to.
I don't think, have you got, I haven't got it.
I'd be
No,
happy to,
I was
but in the-
surprised to see them all
Yeah,
because
I
in the
think-
past, we've gotten them, and I don't know whether it was from a memo from you or the mayor.
Right.
But it'd be
I'll
good to
just-
get them out.
Right, I'll
Because
just
it's a
copy
good
them and-
sign.
Yeah.
What it says to me is that we have good fiscal responsibility. The departments are not spending money willy-nilly, they're giving it back when they have accounts that aren't used up. And we're doing a good job of being careful with our funds. And that lets us we have a $4 million, did I get that right, capital request that you just sent us?
19 plus 1, 2.
And this allows us to hit a little bit of that,
More like
like all of these little trucks and things.
like
That's
three.
great. Anyway, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
I have one more, I just want to say our next meeting will be October 12th,
Okay.
downstairs at 5 o'clock in room 1. We will be discussing, well, all the items will be on the agenda, but I'm going to hit the ones that are on the public hearing agenda first. I want to let everybody know that the $460,000 and the $138,000 items on your agenda, those are both together. The $460 borrowing against a grant that we'll get, and the CPA grant that was given as leverage to get that grant. So it's good. It's a very good win. It's called a PARK grant that we're getting for that $460,000. I'll explain that when we bring it to public hearing. But
Okay.
That's already been approved by the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety, Counselor Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Safety is meeting tomorrow at 3:30 here at 50 Payson. We are still working on the Mobilite pole location cell tower request. We're each bringing the information that we found out about how and what that exactly is. A lot of communities are actually kind of having trouble with figuring out how to possibly monetize how and why those poles are going up. We are continuing with the request to allow on-street parking on a section of Pleasant Street. Do you have an update on that, or?
Yeah, that's ongoing, just getting all the language right before we
Okay.
bring it forward.
So we'll look at that. And then I would like to make a motion to remove without prejudice the possible no parking area on the corner of Prospect Street.
Second.
Okay, a motion, a second, to remove from the public safety agenda the possible no parking area in corner of Prospect Street. Questions, Counselor? List.
I just wanted to know why that's being removed. I assume that whoever asked for it doesn't need it anymore. Did you find it unnecessary? I'm just curious.
The DPW is going to take a look at it. It's just a matter of like painting a line, so they're going to take care of it.
And it doesn't need any formal...
Nope.
Okay, sure, great.
And then I would also like a motion.
Oh, we didn't say...
We didn't vote.
We didn't
didn't
vote
vote.
on this one.
Oh, okay, there's a comment. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Thank you. I would also like a motion for an extension on the Mobilite for 60 days, please.
Second.
Okay, motion, a second, for a 60-day extension on the mobile light pole location cell tower. Question, any other? Is there a second?
I did.
Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
This concludes public safety.
Thank you. Appointments, Counselor Smith.
No new business tonight.
Ordinance, Counselor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance subcommittee did meet last Wednesday, the 28th. We did discuss the food truck ordinance as well as the plastic bag ordinance. We had a guest come in and speak to us about some potential future uses of plastic bags. We are still working on these. Our work is ongoing, so we will be meeting a week from tonight on the 12th at 6 p.m. in a room that Barbara puts us in. But it will be posted, and we will be working.
Okay.
That concludes.
Okay, thank you. Property, Counselor
No
Kwasinski.
report, no business at this time.
Rules and Government Relations, Counselor Rist.
No report, Mr. President.
Okay.
We've already done this.
Yes, old business, new business is done. So unless there's any other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
We have nothing...